Órale, putos. Muchas gracias para todo. Translation, nigga.
Hello, faggots. Thank you so much for everything.
Hello, chat. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Welcome to the show. Well, I hope that really didn't bog down for you guys because that was not looking good for me. I was a little, that was a little rough. That was a little rough on how that all worked. I was not expecting that to do how it did. That was very different. I was not expecting that to do the way it did it. But anyways, guys, welcome to the show. I am Sean Snow, potentially criminal. I'm an attorney, Ohio licensed attorney, currently by way of Florida. Till we take the Florida bar. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. All kinds of fun stuff. So, welcome to the show. I know some of you guys are here from the Lindsay Clancy trial. That is turning into a hot dumpster fire, but this is the thing we do every Thursday. We don't break commitments. Episode 228 of the show. That's a lot of them. It's over 4 years of shows, chat. That is a lot. Yes, legal advice time. Next. It's worth what you pay for it. So I'll leave it at that. So guys, welcome. We got a lot of fun stuff, some serious stuff, and then just try to make this a little more lighthearted when we can be. Sometimes we have to doom, and some days we have to be sad, but this one's not one of those days. This one is one of those. Yeah, it's 229. Correct. 229. That is correct. You're very, very correct here. So, but yes, we are getting ready to do the show, and we have real quick. We need to address what do we got here? Well, Terabis for $10 just left them speechless. Chat left them speechless. EDW for $5 says last Thursday night stream before Sean turns 55 on Monday. Not gonna turn 55, but I am. My birthday is Monday. I will be 41. So yeah, I'll be old. I'll be really old. Lorelei the cat, and the nice little kitty, is a member. That's awesome. Based that the cat's a member. And then the Zakuza saying, I guess Sean covering this NFA thing is okay, but we know we want Floodbusters to cover it. Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll do that. Joe Schmo says legal mindset just turned 40. Oh wow. I know he's an August guy, but cool. A lot of birthdays are in August. A lot of cold winter nights leading to a lot of kids. And then real quick, potentially criminal with Ted Sobs. Let's go, chat. Let's freaking go. Oh, we're not going to do a Clydo Woo for that, but Shredder S 07, he's been here for 25 months, says, Sean, you've already had 26 birthdays this year. Oh, I told you guys it's not my birthday, but you do it anyway, so that wasn't my choice. And then Stephen Cooper's been a member for 31 months, says, bunch of nerds in here. Yes, they are. Bunch of nerds in here. And real quick, guys, I gotta go grab something. We got some mail to open, so hold on. All right, we're back. And we've got some mail. And just like Versace, Somebody shot me while I was checking the mail. Get it, chat? Checking the mail. So we do have one package. And there we go. I think this takes care of it. Yeah, you can't tell what it is. So actually, hold on here, chat. Gotta make sure. Keep forgetting the internet's good enough you guys could read a fucking barcode and figure it out. So we're gonna do that. This box came in from the European dishwasher Raptor, also known as EDW Raptor. Came to me. If you guys want to, you go to there's a PO box. PO Box 84, 220 North Beach Street, Daytona, Florida, 32114. That's the nice post office right on the beach. It's right on the water. It's very nice. They have really bad hours, though. Like, they're only open on Saturdays from, like, 10 to noon. But it's really nice in there. It's very nice. So, anyways, guys, from EDW Raptor. So, here we go. Here we go. Doesn't tick. No spiders. Okay, good. All right. So we have something. It says something in Cyrillic, and then it gives coordinates. Enter into Google Maps before opening it up. Okay. So we got to get our Google Maps open here. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Google Maps. Map it, Google. Google Maps 51.389.389.274, 30.099197. All right. Oh, okay. Okay, this is interesting. All right, chat. We are going to. I got to do this from here. So this is the. If you type in those coordinates, chat, this is the sarcophagus for Chernobyl reactor number 4, the one that had an oopsie poopsie, the one that had a fucky wucky in 1986. Over 40 years ago this year, 1986, 40 years ago, Chernobyl blew up in April. But anyways, yeah, this is it's the rest of it. If you guys were not aware, the Chernobyl plant, this is the only thing left. The rest of it's been decommissioned. The rest of it's not really operational anymore. This is still running. So, and then you guys could go up to a little north. This is you can go to Pripyat, and you can take a look at all the it's like where you play Call of Duty. And here's the Ferris wheel, then there's like the swimming pools and all that crap. Yes, just like old times. And then here's where Price and McMillan took their shot. Up in this building here. They took their shots out onto doesn't work, so they're too far away. But anyways, that's where they took the shots. Open the package. Thank you, Mr. Hutto. Thank you. All right. Watch out for monolith chat. Yes. All right. Yes, and that's the thing here. Despite all the drama, yes, the reactors kept going into the 2000s. And it was a bit of an issue when the Russians invaded and they went through it and they started digging foxholes in irradiated soil. So a lot of those guys are probably dead now. Why would they put a swimming pool in a death camp? I get that reference. All right, so see what this is. Okay. Come on. What the hell is this taped with? It doesn't want to open. Okay, so something from the Ukrainian post office or Russian post office here. Where are my models? Knife, hold on. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Oh, it opens up all the way around. Okay. What the hell did you buy? This is forget me. I don't know if you went there yourself. If you went there yourself, I had questions about your loyalty to the United States. I will officially glow now. Yes, maybe. Ooh, okay. There's another box. It's another box. You got a mail from Latvia. Okay. Yes, Karate Cat Mom. Yes, should we put the Geiger counter on this? Yes. D. Yes. Doesn't feel warm. Doesn't feel warm. So. What the hell? Where's the... Oh, there we go. I was wondering where the side was on this. Oh, is this like a... Oh, cool. Is this like a liquidator medal? From one of the liquidators? I don't know what this reads. I can't read that. I think that's what this is. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty gnarly. Looks like this is for the people who liquidated and cleaned out Chernobyl, if I had to guess. After the reactor blew up. Yeah. So the liquidators, guys, yeah, so it is a liquidator medal. The liquidators were the Russian soldiers who were conscripted. 1986, the 1986 conscription, and the 1987 conscription, and the 1988 conscription year. A lot of those guys didn't go to Afghanistan. A lot of those guys were deployed to Chernobyl to move vehicles, or as in the movie, or as the series showed, murder dogs and cull wildlife. And yes, they had to go in and just kill everything that moved. Run bulldozers, tear up the topsoil, park vehicles, decontaminate. That's pretty gnarly. That is pretty neat. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That is so cool. I'm Latvian. It says the first Latvian sandwich eating competition winner. Yes. Yes. Pick up the chunks of graphite. Yes, that was the other thing they had to do. If you guys remember watching the show Chernobyl when those guys were on the roof and they had 90 seconds, those were the liquidators also. They had to throw the chunks of the graphite off the roof into the reactor. So there we go. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. The only thing I've liquidated is a sandwich. Yeah. Yep. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, that is done. All right. Let's see here. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Actually, for once, it really is happy birthday. So thank you guys for doing that for me. Yes, it's actually, yes, my birthday is on the 10th. So yes, this actually is my birthday for once when you guys do it. That's what I keep saying. It's my birthday for once. Like, now you can do it. Thank you so much. Nico's been a member for 33 months. Says, use code COPE. Once again, I don't know why you'd want to cope in life, but if you want to cope and you think that's something to be proud of, I guess cope. But I'd use code CRIMINAL to dragonstreasure.com. Guys, remember, use code CRIMINAL. Get 10% off your coffees, your teas, and your soaps. I mean, what man would proudly cope? You know, some New Zealander, Australian Cronenberg human being who wanders around Disneyland in Japan and looks at trains. That's a man who would cope. Are you that man? I don't think you are. Don't cope. Don't cope. Erica Thorpe's been a member for 21 months. Says, happy birthday. Well, thank you. Thank you. Shredder S 07 for $9.99. Says non-birthday, non-legal advice fee in lieu of physical present for circling the sun another time. Yes. The 41st anniversary of my mom shitting me out at the hospital. Yes. Yes. And, you know, I got this far without drowning in the shower or my mom deciding to murder me. So, like Lindsay Clancy. So something good happened here. Thank you. All right, guys. All right. Well, it's time to get started. We got people here. A Disney adult. Yes, he is. Meme Copium's a Disney adult, chat. Like, that's just... He didn't want to tell you, but I mean he is. He didn't want to tell you, but he is. A real quick chat while we're at it. You know what else? Birthday time. It's not really birthday time, but it's, you know what? It's always a party. Is at Stoney's Bar, chat. That's right. Stoney's Bar at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota. You know, you don't get this from Aaron. You don't. The Rockville, Minnesota, man. They put the rock in Rockville. I mean, they are rock hard out there, chat. They don't need no Rougiette. They're just rock hard at Stoney's. Out there holding it down, chat. It is $2.50 can night. It's bike night. Bring your hog out, chat. Crank your hog in front of everybody. Come on in. And you come in and crank your hog out in front of everybody on the world famous Stoney's patio. You know, freshly power washed to get rid of all that baby oil from the last competitions they had. I did hear from Cheeto. They took care of that. Somebody slipped and fell last week. So don't worry. That's been addressed. But Stoney's Bar, guys, get out there and take a look at what's going on, guys. You know, they've got all kinds of weird things going on. They got a cornhole tournament Saturday. You know, the registration starts at noon. The bags fly at 1. You know, they've got all kinds of great stuff coming up, you guys. They got all kinds of great stuff coming up. They got PBR 16 ouncers. Not quite tall boys, chat, but they got $3 PBRs. You know, I was generally only PBR in it and St. Patty's Day when it was green, but hey, for $3, you can start slamming them down. But yeah, $30 a team for the cornhole tournament. Guys, on the 15th, they got a poker run, you know, for good cause to help Patty Caspers in her fight against cancer. Guys, registration's at 10. The run starts at 11. There's a gun raffle and a silent auction. So guess what? People who are on probation can't show up to win the gun. So it's a great thing. They can't drink the alcohol either, but they can't be around the guns. So it's like, it's Hannah Montana time, chat. You're getting the best of all the worlds. Guys, they're going to go through La Playette, St. Joseph, Rudolph's, Holdingford. They're going all over the place, guys. They're going all over. To take care of things. So just join them. You're not going to have a bad time at Stoney's. I can promise you that. As far as things are considered. I mean, there's like, what more can you want from Stoney's? What more can you want? You know, and guys, remember, it's all about the patio. They gonna have live music in the garage. Let's go, yeah. Can Lindsay Clancy take her wheelchair out to do Naked Twister? I'm sure something could be worked out. She'll play Naked Twister in the parking lot. That's probably where she'll have to do it. So there you go. All right, guys. We're gonna get into the real stuff now. And let's see here. Let's see here. We're gonna explain how Miley Cyrus had the best of both worlds, but people didn't understand it, so I had to explain it. It's part of the Hannah Montana theme song. So ultimately, let's get to the first big story tonight, chat. And honestly, I mean, if I'm like everybody else, I'll have to do it like this. That's right, chat. Breaking news. And if you went on Twitter, you would see this. And this, I think, is a little misleading. But here's the gun owners of America run around screaming, "Oh, we just won the NFA. No more suppressors, SBRs, or short-barreled shotguns," chat. You know, it's been eliminated. The NFA is now unconstitutional as applied. But don't break out those hacksaws just yet. Because when you scroll down a little bit more, but wait, there's more. Oh, and then they say, look at this. And this is where I have the problem. This is horribly dishonest. because they still don't even tell you what the issue is. Okay, what happened? What happened? Yes, well, a big old asterisk. A big old asterisk. A big old asterisk. And what is the asterisk? Well, it is a case of silencer shop in multiple organizations in multiple states suing. Hold on here. Where is? Yes. So here is what you have. Here is what you have. And this comes to this case here. Silencer Shop Foundation, which they are doing a lot of work funding legal work. Silencer Shop, shout out to them. They are doing God's work out there, pushing it along, pushing things along here. Yes, suing the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives et al. Defendants. So here's what happened. So this is the final judgment. And ultimately, we're not going to read through the case yet. I'm going to go through this with Matt at a different point. This was basically an attack on the National Firearms Act, which, if you guys remember, is the thing that prohibits and restricts ownership of machine guns, silencers, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, any other weapons, and destructive devices. Those are the things you need a tax stamp for. If you guys have ever seen them. And for those of you who don't know, yes, you actually have to have a stamp. And the stamp is proof you've paid a tax. And it's not uncommon to have tax stamps. For example, if you're in the tobacco industry or in the alcohol industry, if you are a distiller or manufacturer of that, or you're selling tobacco, growing tobacco, you have to pay tax on that. And that is something the government loves their taxes. And the way they show proof of paying the tax is that you have a stamp. And the stamps are, the stamps are a thing. The stamps are a thing here. And they are, as they are set, stamps come out, and traditionally you would get a stamp that would look like this. It's a literal stamp that they would glue onto your form, and it would show proof you paid. And these stamps have control numbers. And for example, here you have like a $5 stamp for any other weapons. And those are guns that look like other objects. And then $200 stamps, and that's for, typically silencers, short-barreled rifles, machine guns, destructive devices, those things there. Now, those are important. As this goes on, though, you get to see things. As recently, though, the laws went into effect that the ATF had to release a new stamp. And now, because as of now, through the One Beautiful Big Bill Act, suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns have a $0 registration fee. There is no tax on them anymore. The tax is $0, but you still have to file a Form 1 if you're making them. And my camera is being ridiculistic again. Hold on, guys. That should fix it. Hello out there, MTV. I'd like to get on the real world. And some of you might say, wait, wasn't like the Stamp Act one of the, casus belli of the Revolutionary War? Yes, it was. Isn't it funny that we still use tax stamps today? That's one of those times where history has a very good sense of irony. Has a very big sense of irony. Anyways, the National Firearms Act, with this, the more recent developments, you can now get these $0 stamps. They are things that are out there. If you guys go and you guys could register stuff now, it costs you no money. So that is what's happened here. Well, what was this lawsuit about? This lawsuit was about the taxing power and the taxes here, because if Congress is not collecting taxes and they've explicitly said it's worth $0, the tax, well, is it a tax anymore? And they went to a court and they found a judge and they kind of gamed this. Guys, once again, this is just like immigration law. You could go out and find, this was our Hawaii judge. Okay. So they went to the Northern District of Texas and they found a judge who, hereby ordered a judge and decreed that final judgments entered in favor of the plaintiffs in Silencer Shop Foundation versus ATF, and also another case, Jensen versus ATF. And there's some different issues in these cases here, okay? The plaintiff's Second Amendment claims are dismissed without prejudice as abandoned. And they decided to go all in and focus on the taxing and spending issues. Which, if you guys go back to that case we saw with the hobby distillers, and we had the attorney who helped litigate that way back when, and then the Fifth Circuit recently just approved it and, basically agreed that it was correct ruling. This is, the taxing and spending power of Congress and their constitutional duties under Article 1. So it says, accordingly, the court permanently enjoins the ATF and the United States Department of Justice, because remember, the DOJ runs the ATF, and Todd Blanche's capacities as Attorney General, Robert Takata in his official capacity as the administrator of the ATF. Scotty asked good questions. A stamp on the weapon? No. The stamp goes on your... the ATF has multiple forms that you get. And this is an example of what they look like. There's multiple forms. There's a Form 1, a Form 4, Form 3, Form 5. There's a Form 20. There's a lot of different forms. And what happens is you get something like this. The stamp goes on your form because you submit the form and then they approve it. Nowadays, you could do them digitally and they're fast, and it comes with a digital, and they impose it on the form and you could print it out. Traditionally, you would mail it in and then they would mail you back with a physical stamp glued to it. And the stamp would be glued in this same spot. So the stamp goes on your forms. The stamp can't go on, if it was on your gun, it'd be so easy to screw up. But that's actually a really good question. If you're not a gun person, where do the stamps go? Where do the oranges go? I don't know. But that is where the stamp goes. That's actually a really good question. Nobody's ever asked that before, but you couldn't have been when you ask a question, you're not the only person who's thinking that. It's an important thing to think about. Okay, so they've been, joined in this. And anyone from enforcing the challenge provisions of the NFA as to untaxed firearms against the plaintiffs, and where applicable, the plaintiffs' agencies, subdivisions, members, and customers, both current and future. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, not only Silencer Shop and their customers, but also Gun Owners of America, they're claiming their members and customers, both current and future. So just like with the hobby distillers, they're claiming, okay, well, you know what? You can distill alcohol for a hobby and drink it as long as you're not selling, as long as you're part of the Hobby Distillers Association. We're going to get to all of this here, guys. We're going to get to the rest of this here in a second. But the challenge provisions, 26 USC, and for those of you guys who don't understand this, 26 USC 5845 is the National Firearms Act. It's in the tax code. It was originally passed in 1934 as a taxation issue. And ultimately, that's where it starts. Now, since 1968, they've modified laws to now not only not paying your taxes is not only just a crime of not paying the tax code, it's also a felony. So if you have an unregistered machine gun or an unregistered sawed-off shotgun, well, not only did you not pay your tax, but you also committed the federal offense of having an unregistered item, which you could face up to 10 years of prison and or $250,000 fine. I'm not joking, literally up to $250,000. They're very serious about this. That's how they stop people. Now, what are they addressing here? Well, they go to how you handle this stuff. And what you need to look at is 26 USC 5812. Okay, well, where do you go to get that? Well, you look at it and we go here, you go online and you go to a great place here, you go to taxes. And this is out of, you just use Cornell's thing. It actually is very good. So you go through here and see where it's even phrased with this. 26 USC subtitle E, chapter 53, machine guns, destructive devices, and certain other firearms. They focus on the top two right away. So what's the taxation issues? Okay, so we get to this and we have to go to 12. the tax on transferring firearms. Guys, in a Form 1 is making it the transfer taxes. And so where do we start? Well, we have to go back to that. So we go to 5812A through B. Okay, well, what is 5812A through B? So here we go. 5812A. A firearm should not be transferred unless a transferor has filed a application, and any tax payable is paid as evidenced by a proper stamp. Well, you don't have to pay a tax. So they go through all this. They list out all the things you have to do. The, identifying of the firearms and everything there. Transfer of possession. The transferee of firearms shall not take possession unless they've approved the transfer. Now, the way this would work typically is if you wanted to go buy a suppressor or a silencer, you would go to the silencer store, a silencer shop in this case. You would pay for the silencer ahead of time. You'd fill out your forms and you would mail them in or submit them electronically. And as people would, it's called colloquially NFA jail. And it sits in jail at the store and you can't take it home. Now, if you happen to know the guy who runs the gun store and if you're friends with the SOT who's managing all of this and he's cool about it, he can go with you to the range if he's going to the range, and he can give you your suppressor. You could put it on your gun and you could shoot your suppressor. Or let's say you're buying a machine gun and it's staying there. Or the guy you're buying it from, well, if he goes to the range, you could go with him and you could shoot your machine gun that you just bought. And then finally, when it's approved, you can take it home with you. So that is a thing here. So that is what they're addressing. This is where it starts. Let me move on to 28 USC, 26 USC 5822. And then they go down here into a couple other parts, guys. 27 CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations. These are all the regulations that put all of this into play. These are all the ATF rules and regulations. If you want to know, you go look back through them and you can understand what the ATF does here. So it says further, the ATF, the DOJ, are permanently enjoined from enforcing the following challenged NFA provisions as to untaxed firearms against the Jensen plaintiffs. Jensen is a separate case, and those guys are about any other weapons. They were attacking a separate issue, but they also were able to challenge some stuff. And the thing is, the injunction does not extend to any other weapons things in the Jensen case. So Jensen was attacking any other weapons along with the other three categories. And any other weapons, like I said, they are guns that are other items. So like if I made a gun, for example, this remote control, if I put a gun inside of this where I could hit a button and it would go, this is any other weapon. There are other definitions of any other weapon also, but that is the most traditionally understood one. So any other relief not specified here is denied. This order stays for 7 days to allow the DOJ to seek relief at the appellate level. And the clerk of court is directed to close the case, so ordered on August 5th. Okay, so as of right now, this is not in effect. So once again, don't use your hacksaws. It's still in effect. And more importantly, even if the ATF and the DOJ say, yeah, you know what, we're not going to do this. Okay, everybody joins the GOA. And at that point, I would recommend you should join the GOA. But this is a district court ruling, you guys. One district court. One. This is no different than when you get all this nonsense from district court judges in Massachusetts saying, you know, we could keep all the heckin' immigrinos here. We can't deport any of them. Okay, well, then it gets appealed up and the Supreme Court comes in just so you guys understand, Supreme Court is not going to abolish the National Firearms Act. Not even for SBRs, SBSs, and silencers. They're not going to do that. There's no way. I don't see that ever happening. So, yes. Well, right now, yes, this is kind of cool. If this doesn't go beyond the district court level, that's not helpful to anybody because things could change. You know, these injunctions could be attacked in the future. Just because an injunction is granted doesn't mean it can't be addressed sooner and somebody could challenge it. Let's say in 2028, Democrats sweep through. Could they come through and Everytown USA get involved and attack it another way? Sure. They could do a lot of different things. I'm just trying to make sure you guys understand this is great. It's a great first step. But we have not scored the kill shot. I mean, this is going to be like if some judge says, well, you can't deport the Haitians, TPS can't be terminated. Oh my God, take that, Trump. No, because what happened? It got appealed up and they got their asses whooped. And they said it's precluded from judicial review. This is going to be a similar situation. We have one judge. Remember, guys, one judge out of 688 federal judges said something we like. Maybe there's a couple more, but we need some great stuff. Like, we need appellate courts to agree with us. We need to establish some case law. You know, we need the Fifth Circuit to get involved. And could they? Probably. But the Ninth Circuit ain't going to support this. The Fourth Circuit ain't going to support this. I mean, we know, like, there's a lot of places that ain't going to support this, guys. And honestly, do you think that, it's going to stop you? Do you think that the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of New Jersey is going to hesitate on fucking indicting you if you run around with a untaxed sawed-off shotgun? No, I would not chance that. They're going to laugh at you and prosecute you. I think you'd be a fool to believe that. That's why this is great. It's a great start. But do you think that you're going to be safe in this federal circuit? No, not in the Second Circuit. Third Circuit? Maybe. Fourth Circuit? Probably not. Seventh Circuit? Definitely not. Hell, they can't even get rid of the assault weapons bans there. And then the Ninth Circuit, you best believe in the Ninth Circuit, you ain't getting what you want out of there. You ain't getting what you want out of there. So, there's a lot of problems here. This is far from over. This is a great thing. But I think people have oversold and overhyped this. And once again, you go back to the GOA. Do you see anything in here? Do you see any asterisks or great opening first steps? No. You just see ding dong, the witch is dead. And then, oh, by the way, read this. But you don't see anything else. You don't see anything else. No asterisk, no nothing. I think that's dishonest. And that's really shitty for them to do that. I don't think that's fair. You have a duty to tell people straight up, this is a good first step, but it's not over by a long shot. You need to read this and be very careful. Because it's far from over and it's far from guaranteed this is going to stay this way. Now, that's the biggest thing here, and that's been my problem with this. That's been my problem with this. Is the GOA setting up people for bad cases? Not necessarily. If you're in the group, you probably have some protection. But remember, like, are we going to be able to do a nationwide injunctions anymore? Remember, the Supreme Court's already poo-pooed those. So for everybody who's in the GOA, like we talked about this, the Supreme Court's had issues with the immigration cases where there's like these big class actions of everybody getting involved. Are we sure we're going to get that? I don't know. At this point, I can't be sure that they wouldn't see this that way. This is all up in the air, man. This is all up in the air. I would caution you. I would caution you. And you might say, well, Sean, you're being a pussy. My job as a lawyer is to caution you. The law is not clear. The law is far from settled. The smoke is not cleared on this. We don't even know what the appellate courts are going to do with this. So I would recommend you be very, very, very fucking careful. If you're a member of GOA, you're going to join GOA, or you're going to go through Silencer Shop. Once again, I would be very careful. Would I recommend in the meantime you still file a Form 1 and just, tax-free bish and click on the button? Yeah. Probably the safest thing I could recommend to you. Or you're doing a Form 4, $0 transfer tax on you buying a silencer. probably your safest bet for now. I can't tell you go hog wild on this. Because if I'm wrong, great. I'm wrong. I'll eat crow. If I'm right, woo! Think about if I'm right. If I'm right, a lot of people are fucked. So you got to be very careful. Just be very careful. It's a great thing. I would love nothing more than to have a fucking javelin and a crate full of like saws sitting in my garage right now for a rainy day. But that's not the reality of the world we live in. And I don't think that's going to be the reality of the world we live in. You know, we must suffer. We must suffer. So let me see here. Let's see. Everyone forgets that Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts on the Supreme Court will kill this. I mean, to be fair, guys, you've got Clarence Thomas, who probably would go along with this. Samuel Alito, whose nickname was Machine Gun Sammy when he was on the Fifth Circuit. He got a nickname for that because he went all crazy on a machine gun case and dissented. And then you've got Neil Gorsuch, who in the birthright citizenship case showed us how really base that man is. I could see Gorsuch going along with it. Although I can't imagine Gorsuch sitting there chugging a fucking tall boy and ripping off a mag dump with a Mac 10. But do you see Brett Kavanaugh sitting there with like a AK-47 just fucking hosing down the berm somewhere, shooting at trash on a berm at a gun club? No. Do you see Amy Coney Barrett sitting there with like a saw shooting up a dryer that she had in her house that doesn't work anymore? No. Do you see John Roberts shooting at a car full of tannerite? No. I don't see it. So, like, there's three guys who are about it, but not everybody else. So I would just, once again, caution you. Bob Johnson says, you're pretty stationary, Sean. After you run out of ammo, then what? Then I'll deal with that. That's a problem I'll deal with. Territory says, any chance St. Benitez could be appointed to the Supreme Court, even if he's retired? I don't think he would want to at the end of the day. He is Roger Benitez. He's the guy in California who kept striking things down and gave Californians what was known as Freedom Week, where they were able to buy shitloads of magazines and things unregulated because he struck down everything. And for 1 week, that was the case. He's over the age of 70. He wouldn't last long on the Supreme Court. So that wouldn't be good for him. Also, by the way, chat, if you go to PSA, and it's still a thing. It's still a thing. I checked it out because it came in the mail for me today. PMAGs are $7.99 a piece with the promo code PMAG at Palmetto State Armory. 10 mags for $98 shipped. Not a bad fucking deal. Not a bad fucking deal. Get you some mags, chat. You can never have enough. Let's see. Please sponsor me, Palmetto State. I'll shill your stuff. Help me. I need ammo. I want guns. Am I blackpilling about 2A stuff? A little bit, yeah. So, let's see here. What else you guys got? Gen 2 or Gen 3? Gen 2. Doesn't matter. You can have Gen 1 PMAGs. Like, what do you like the P? Like, it's not like anybody ever uses the fucking cover on those things anyway. The feed lips don't go bad. Gen 2 is more than fine. PMAGs run like fucking rape apes, man. I have PMAGs from like when they came out, and they're still good. So, yes, send ammo and guns. I already have I already have lawyers, guns, and money. So yes, guns and money. I already bring lawyers with me everywhere I go. Is it a straw purchase if a guy in Florida buys PMAGs for me? It's not a straw purchase, but it would be circumventing Illinois law. So, why would I want PMAGs? My MP5 doesn't use them. Funny. Oh. So, let's see. Yes, the Freedom Week sales are happening right now for PSA. Yes, they are. Yeah, like I said, guys, PSA does a great job supporting the Second Amendment. So, as I said, it's a great deal. It's a great thing. But just we pump the brakes a little bit because this is far from over. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong in 6 months. You can laugh at me and say you're wrong, fat man. But for now, chat, I would be very careful. Croson says, I got PMAGs that went on every deployment with me, one signed by Chris Judge. That's absolutely based. Absolutely based. So, Stacey says, handy if you can carry your own lawyer around. Yes, it is. 803 is saying, if California repeals their gun laws, other states may have shortages for guns and ammo. Well, they're not going to repeal it, but courts may kill it. Can I do a field trip to PSA? I mean, that's not too far away, but maybe in the future. Cool Chill Name says, have you experienced any good Florida lightning bolts? Yes, like every fucking storm. I don't know what it is about down here, but it's like we don't have a roof sometimes because like the lightning just boom. And it's like I jump. And Clyde and Brody, they're all fucked up. Lainey's just like, oh, what? And she just goes and lays down again. But no, there have been some massive thunderbolts that kick off down here. I don't understand it. So, too many choices. I still prefer aluminum mags when possible. I understand that. And that was a thing. I initially felt that way too. But PMags, dude, I mean, your magazines, your aluminum mags, well, just magazines in general are a consumable wear item for any semi-automatic firearm. That's why M1 carbines have a shitty reputation. The magazines were meant for like one and done use. But soldiers kept, because they didn't have enough of them, they would reuse them. MP44, same issue. You know, Thompsons, MP38s, MP40, everything has that problem. Magazines are meant to be disposable, and the amount of damage you can do to a stainless steel or aluminum magazine, you can beat on a PMag and it's fine. You could shoot through a PMag and it still works. PMags have a lot of options, and I think they're worth it. I think they're totally worth it. That said, though, yes, nothing is sleeker than an M16A1 with a 20-round magazine. And, you know, also the M16A2 with a 30-round magazine out of is absolutely sexy. It is the Cold War drip, but PMags are the king. Lancer mags are good. You know, Tango Downs, like really anything plastic's pretty good now, except Orlights. Except Orlights and thermolds. Don't buy thermolds and don't buy Orlights. And don't take those from people because they're shit. I learned that the hard way once. I paid like right after Obama won, I was at a gun show and I paid like $25 for like $25 a piece for a couple of thermolds. These fucking things were just fucking garbage. Those are Canadian magazines that were thermal molded plastic that they were running in their military. Fucking garbage. So let's see here. So that's it, guys. That's it. You'll stick with your 6-round Carcano on block. You're just being an asshole now. Yes. I'll stick with my K31, sir. My lady. Stacey says Canadian, you should have known better. Yeah, but you know what? Like, it was 2008. I had only had my guns for a couple weeks. A couple months, because I got mine in June. Right after I graduated college, I got my AR-15. I saw Obama was going to win. And then after he won, everything dried up, and I found the mags for like $25 a piece, and they were cheaper than anything else I could find, so I bought them. There's only 3. So, all right, guys, moving on from there, but that is the big story in the NFA case. We are going to move on to another situation that has occurred, and that is the case of Scarlett Hampton. And guys, if you guys know Scarlett Hampton was for quite a while the the beau and the paramour to her beau, Ethan Ralph. And they've been, as Ethan Ralph likes to say, they were like ham and cheese. And, you could also argue oil and water. There's been a lot of issues with this. Scarlett is a former, as she might, I'll use a term, I'll be nice, is a former mattress actress, to use the term the kids say nowadays. And also, I believe she does technically escort work. As things are out there, people have found her profiles and things she's available to do. Well, Scarlett and Ralph, every time they're together, things kick off. There's fighting and crying and screaming on the live streams. And sometimes people are throwing glass and stepping in glass. And this most recent time around, well, some things got a little weird. And for a while, people hadn't heard from Scarlett for a couple of days. And a lot of people thought, like, something happened. Well, something did happen to Scarlett, as we found out. And what happened to Scarlett was Scarlett got arrested for possessing cocaine. And what is this from? Well, this is from Lake County, Indiana. Guys, and if you don't understand where we're at, Lake County, Indiana is the county that borders Chicago. Remember, guys, Chicago is right on basically the border of Illinois and Indiana. So what happened here? Well, we're going to get into what happened, and then we can talk about what can be done. So what happened here? Well, so an Officer Ortiz with the East Chicago Police Department, and guys, East Chicago is in Lake County, which is in the state of Indiana. Once again, this is further west than Gary. Like, East Chicago is in between Chicago and Gary, Indiana. So it's not exactly Beaver Cleaverville over in that area, if you don't know, guys. So what happened? Well, during the course of my investigation, and this is the cop, he's reviewing the report of Officer Mendez. So Officer Ortiz is reviewing Officer Mendez's report. And this cop says, I believe that the report from Officer Mendez is truthful and credible because it's prepared in the ordinary course of business. And it's done according to the standards they have. So Officer Mendez reported that she was dispatched to St. Catherine's Hospital in East Chicago in Lake County, Indiana, in reference to a report of a patient in possession of drugs. When Officer Mendez showed up, she spoke with an RN last name Sims. Nurse Sims, who Officer Mendez believed to be truthful and credible because she spoke of facts within her knowledge. Now you guys might say, wow, we're kind of jumping some lines here from Officer Mendez, for Officer Ortiz, to Officer Mendez, to Nurse Sims. Yeah, that's a couple of jumps. There's a bit of hearsay here. Okay, this is a probable cause statement that is allowed. Remember, we're not at trial. We're not at those things. You can get away with hearsay in these situations. So, Officer Mendez reported, and this is where the nurse advised, that a patient named Delaney Green Gretzinger, that's Scarlett Hampton's real name. That's a government name. And actually, I should probably put up here, because in case some of you don't know, Scarlett Hampton, here's a picture of her. And I'm not going to show a picture of her where she's, doing her famous work, because she's... Be careful when you Google her on the internet, guys. There's you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you do it. But Scarlett is, and actually here, this is a good picture we'll use. This is a picture of Scarlett here. This is Scarlett. And obviously she's like winking and stuff, whatever. And then you have Ethan Ralph, the proprietor of the world famous illustrious Kill Stream. The king of the sector, been around forever. He is he's been around. He's a stalwart part of the sector. So anyway, look at this. So Scarlett was transferred to the hospital in relation to a domestic incident. What exactly does that mean? Here's the problem. We don't know everything yet. So a domestic incident means that the police just show up and there was hollering and screaming. Very well could be. Did the police show up and think, a crime was committed? We actually don't know. We don't know what happened. To be fair, Scarlett called the police on Ralph And not only that, but people that have been like in hotel rooms nearby have called the police. And Ethan Ralph has been, he takes off when that happens. And when Scarlett shows up, she's like, well, I don't want to get him in trouble. And we're a thing. And, it turns into a disaster every time. It turns into a disaster every time. So what happened? Well, she had been admitted to the psychiatric ward at the hospital. Now, we don't know if this is voluntary or involuntary. Either way, when you get into the psych ward, the police could pink slip you. And watching some of the footage of some of these body cams and some of the way they are, if she's been drinking or doing drugs, like she might have gone off the handle a little bit. And police will do that if you're under the influence and you're just batshit crazy. They can take you to the nut hut. Or she could have been in a situation where she felt like she had to go to one. Ultimately, the nurses reported that they were in possession of a Nike bag that Scarlett brought in, and she opened the bag pursuant to a hospital policy for admitted patients into the psychiatric area. And guys, this is normal. If you go into the nut hut, they're going to examine your stuff because you're there. You're a psychiatric risk, whether you think you are or the police or someone else thinks you are. So did she get 5150'd? 5150'd, Baker Act, pink slipped, whatever you want to call it. Those are all the same thing. Yes, maybe. Or she checked herself and we don't know. Either way, they point out, though, that she had to be sedated. So presumably this was an involuntary commitment. The police took her there. But I don't know. It's not clear. It's not clear. There's a lot of stuff we're going to speculate on. But ultimately, they opened the bag pursuant to a hospital policy. Well, yeah, because they're not just going to let you, you could have a gun, you could have a knife. You don't just get to magically say, oh, that's my bags, you can't open them. No, if you go into the nut hut, they check your stuff. Because they're not going to let you bring in things you could hurt yourself, harm other people. If you smoke a bunch of PCP and you go crazy, they're not going to let you bring more drugs in. You don't just get to do that. Hospital searching stuff is pretty normal. They don't just oh yeah, here's your bag and tussle around the hair and go play Scrabble with all the crazy people. No, they're going to check that. What do you have in here we have to worry about? You just can't do that. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, you could be bringing in razors. You could bring in all kinds of stuff. Maybe you bring in a belt or a tie and you hang yourself. They can't afford to have any of that happen. They can't afford to have any of that shit happen. So they're going to check your stuff. Now, there's no issue, at least what's presented here, of the police telling the nurse to check. So there's no Fourth Amendment issues. At least from here, there's nothing that stands out. Is there maybe more information that could be gleaned later? Maybe. But just from looking at this, the hospital checked your stuff. That's pretty normal. That's pretty normal. If they think there's concerns for that, they'll check. They found a bunch of drugs, so they called the police. They take your shoelaces away. You don't get to have a belt. If you're truly suicidal, you have to wear the suicide smock, which is that big blanket. It's like a moving blanket that has Velcro on it that you can't tear. You might not be allowed to have bed sheets in your room. There's going to be all kinds of stuff they're worried about. You might be in a room without blinds on it because they don't want you hanging yourself with the blind cables. There's so many things they won't let you do. You don't get anything. So you're not going to get that. Yeah, your socks. You don't even get to wear underwear if you're truly a big enough suicide risk. So, and Turboy says, I said the wrong thing in an ER. The next thing I know, I got a cop guarding me. Yeah. Kitty says, do they still use straitjackets? I mean, it's a thing, but I don't know. I presume they use them less than they used to, but it's still an option. But if you're that dangerous, they're going to try to sedate you. Hair ties? No, you won't be. You won't have any of that stuff. Anything that you could use to harm yourself that you're not going to be allowed to have. You're not going to be allowed to have. I look stunned. Oh, damn freaking camera. Why is it doing this? I'm going to have to buy a new... I wonder if I need to buy a new cable. That might be my problem. And we're back. So, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff there you can't deal with. You're Melmaxing. Wow. But yeah, this idea that they are searching her stuff, that's pretty obvious. So anyways, they search it, and what do? They observe a bag of white powdery substance among other pills, which we don't know what those are. They reported that, the officer reported that she observed the substances as discovered, and they were a collective 4 bags of a white powdery substance that weighed 30 grams. Field testing positive for la cocaína. And Scarlett was sedated and couldn't speak. Doesn't matter. And they charged her with this. She's facing felony 3 drug possession charges, guys. She faces anywhere from, if convicted of it, she could face up to 3 to 16 years of prison. Now, I did talk to some Indiana attorneys. It is a probationable offense. It's not mandatory time. There is no mandatory minimums. She could get probation even in this situation. It does help that she is in a dark blue. Well, for Indiana, it's a blue county. It's a blue county. It's better than being in a very right-wing county. Those things do matter, believe it or not. They help. She has bonded out, and she is set for her next case. It was actually set for tomorrow for a hearing, but that has been canceled and everything's been continued. She has a court date on September 25th. So, did Scarlett ask for a lawyer while in there? She was probably out of her mind if they had to sedate her. Think about you're fucking bouncing off the walls if they're sedating you. So no. Peter Keys says, was it in her kid's hair? No, but maybe the cops rubbed it in her hair. I don't know. They do that. And also, guys, remember, apparently, if you're black, it'll test differently. So Scarlett needs to be worried about that too, I guess. No. Will the hearing on the 25th be live streamed? I doubt it. I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't think so at this point. But from here, what's going to happen to her? Well, she can always get probation. She could get diversion. I mentioned this before when we talked about Nick Rekieta getting in trouble for cocaine. They have, and I said it like the day he got arrested. In Minnesota, they have statutory programs and schemes and situations set up to allow you to engage in treatment, enter a plea, and if you complete the terms of treatment and term of probation, your case can be dismissed in its entirety. They have that deferred adjudications or interventions in lieu of conviction. Many states have them. Indiana does not have a formal version of that in the same way, but they do allow people to handle things in the terms of, prosecutors offering diversion, and they could amend things down and allow things to happen. So maybe this gets amended down, just like Nick's case got amended down, and it got amended down to a lower level. There's drug courts, other things that are out there that could possibly happen. It's probably not going to be like a pre-conviction diversion, like where it happens even before she has to go to court and enter a plea. It could be like Nick's, where she has to enter a plea and then demonstrate she's clean. They do have like it's interesting in Indiana, because I was doing the research on this and talking to attorneys there. They have like a first-time offender marijuana, like conditional discharge. And prosecutors have their own diversions they can do that are set out in state code. They have misdemeanor deferrals for drug treatment for misdemeanor crimes, but not for felony stuff. So it's a little different. But guys, remember, every state is different. Scarlett has options available to her. And, one of those things is work with her attorney. She's got an attorney, and they need to come up with a game plan, and whatever plan they choose, hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's a good one. Now, what can she challenge? I mean, she could try to say it's not my bag, and that doesn't mean shit because it's in her possession, and possession doesn't mean you own it. Possession means you have control and dominion over it. And she's standing there holding the bag. And there's a presumption you know what's in a bag you're holding. And if you try to argue, well, I didn't know, somebody gave it to me and they ran off, well, admitting you're a big fucking idiot isn't really sympathetic to a jury. So the idea that she's not possessing it, no, she's possessed it. She possessed it. It looks like there's some video that's already out there of her having it. And I think it's pretty clear she knew what it was. And, it's like Scarlett's going to be able to say like, oh, Ethan Ralph tainted me and turned me to the path of drugs. Nobody's going to buy that either. So it's hers. It's hers. She's stuck with them. That's going to be what it is there. Now that's really her biggest problem at this point. That's her biggest problem there. Hopefully she can get this dropped down. I mean, I don't want to see anybody go to prison. Prison's not fun. Prison's not good for anybody. Does she need to go to prison? No. Prison is for people we're afraid of, not for people who are goobers. She needs a chance to get her life on track. I mean, like every time like her and Ralph get together, they're screaming, hollering, drinking, and fighting and crying. And it's like, maybe you guys should go see therapist and like work on this, because if this is happening, guys might not be good for each other. So hopefully Scarlett can get her shit worked out. Hopefully she can. Let's see here. What is you guys talking about here? Scarlett's black where it matters. Check her credit score. Jesus. Oh no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that, chat. Let's see here. I have BobTube for $2 Australian doodles says, Nick said Alyssa will get life for this. Confirm. She's not. No. No. She's not. I don't see her getting incarceration out of this. I mean, she's a first-time offender, and she's a cute little white girl. Like, that actually helps you, believe it or not. Being like cute little white girl, blonde-haired white girl, with a name like Delaney, that helps so much. That helps so much to go into a courtroom. She gets her hair done, puts on some good clothes. She'll look like $1 million in front of the court, getting what you want out of things. So. Oh, Nick said Alyssa will get life for this. What is she going to get life for? What the fuck is she going to get life for? Oh. I don't know. Oh, they're saying Alyssa had her 5150'd. I doubt it. If it's like any other time they've, Ralph and Scarlett have had interactions, either one of them calls the police, or like neighbors or people in a hotel probably call the cops. So, just, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's what's this? Oh, they're saying they conspired. Well, he likes to believe in conspiracies. Like all the evil church people conspired against him, and then they came and kissed and washed his feet and proclaimed him just to be like King David. So, really, you got to trust that guy. I'm surprised he didn't argue about watermarks or a Frank's motion in the meantime. But we'll see. Maybe if Ka gets a hold of some information, Nick will try to bring that up. So, she pulled a fire alarm. Okay, well, there you go. Pulling a fire alarm. Jesus. That'll get you in all kinds of shit, too. So. But anyways, yeah, it's for Scarlett. Once again, I hope she gets treatment. Hope she gets better. If her and Ralph want to, if they feel like they want to be together, all the power to them. They just got to figure out a way to do it where, they quit having all this volatility. So, hope the best for Scarlett. Hope she gets better. And that is kind of that one. We got some other things here. Connie Death Squad for $5 says, I hope Ralph goes and supports his queen. I mean, I don't know. It seems like every other day they're either like, they're hot and cold. So I don't know. Stardust Crusader says 24 hours ago, I want to be sedated. Yes, to quote the great Ramones. This user's 404 for $5. Good to see you, man. It says, should have went on focus trip the other night. I was already on locals. It's not like he didn't call you out or anything. No, but I was just pointing out, like, you know, there's so much shit wrong with this that we're not at all done with this case. But I'm going to reach out to him. IG88 for $9.99 real quick says, I have an old M16A1 with an FRT in it, and my Gramps, who is a nom, gave me 4 of his 20 rounders still in the box. I've got a couple of really old Colt. I got these when I was in the in-range TV Discord for my gift one year. Guy sent me a couple of like old Colt 30-round magazines. So, like, the finish is almost gone off half of them, like half of it, and they're so cool. And I've seen like old M16A1 20-rounders that are just, you know, still in the box. Those things have to be so cool. Yes, thermals suck, and they are fugly. Yes, they are. Absolutely, they suck. They absolutely do suck. Peter Keys for $5 New Zealand dollar dude says 41 years since Sean first tasted pussy. Happy birthday. God, it's fucking awful the way you say that. Ugh. Thank you. Justin Hancock for $2 says, happy emerging from a vagine day. Sandwich fun money. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, hold on here. Yes, Bob too. Yes. Thanks, Mom. Oh. Ugh. The 51 says, I have a Nazi, I have a Waffenamp 1911 with a holster and an SS-22 pistol in the family. Yes. Norway was making 1911s on license before the Germans invaded. So the Germans continued production, and there are Waffenamp with the Nazi eagle on it, stamped 1911s. There are Waffenamp Belgian high powers. Basically, the Germans grabbed every gun they could find. So, but yes, you could see all kinds of cool shit. In Range TV Discord, Sean used to be gay. What was cool back then? It was cool for a while. Then it got ridiculoso. So, all right, guys. And like I said, this probable cause seems legit. I think there's other things Scarlett could do, like just get better and then put this behind her. So good luck to her. And then we have from here, delete that, delete. Got more, I got Kershaw level tabs right now. All right, guys, moving on. We have Buc-ees. That's right, chat. Buc-ees, the world famous Buc-ees. And it's very funny with Buc-ees and how this all works. If you guys remember, Buc-ees is the great store. I've been to the Buc-ees out my way, and it's okay. But Buc-ees is a very litigious organization. They are very protective of their IP, and they are very, very protective of what they file and what they go after. And guys, if you don't know what Buc-ees is the Texas gas station chain, which basically they operate as a gas station that doesn't allow semi-trucks to come in and do all that fun stuff, really. It's mainly for tourists. It's a part of the cultural zeitgeist. And if you guys have never seen Buc-ees before, this is Buc-ees in a nutshell. They are just massive fucking gas stations with Buc-ee the beaver on it. And you can go and do all kinds of fun stuff. Buy all kinds of food and do things like the fresh hot brisket on 4. And, you know, the brisket sandwich, it was like, yeah, was not that impressed. But yes, women love it because they have clean bathrooms. And yes, Buc-ees started in Texas, and we're in Texas for a very long time until fairly recently they expanded outside of Tejas. And now They are even to the point like there's a couple here in Florida, and we finally got to go to one. They are opening one now in Ohio. They're opening it in Dayton, Ohio. And Buc-ees is already suing a chain of gas stations in Ohio because they have Mickey the Moose. And they're claiming that's infringing on their copyright and trademarks. Well, there's another problem for Buc-ees. Because if you guys can see, Buc-ee is a beaver, right? Looks like a beaver. Got a big old beaver teeth. Well, here's a problem. And they are moving into Dayton. And Dayton has a very unique situation. One of the suburbs of Dayton is a very interesting town. And it's a town called Beaver Creek. This is Dayton, chat, out here in Ohio. And down here in Dayton. And just outside of Beaver Creek is the U.S. Air Force Museum, which is really, really cool. If you ever get the chance to go to it, guys, you will not hate it. It is phenomenal. But outside of the Air Force Base, and that's at Wright Pat, where Hangar 18 is, you have the beautiful town of Beaver Creek, Ohio. So guess what the mascot is in everything in Beaver Creek? Beaver this, beaver that, right? Why not? That makes total sense. Well, Buc-ees had a problem with an organization, and it's known as the Haynes Road Carryout Incorporated. So what do they have? What do they have for a thing here? Well, here's their party. And, here is what the Beavers Mini Mart. Yes, not Buc-ees, but it's Beavers Mini Mart. And here is, some of you might say, well, clearly this has been around before longer than anybody knew about Buc-ees. That's not how trademark works. You could have a prior existing logo or intellectual property, but if I went ahead and registered it, I can then pursue litigation against you. There was an entire issue about Surefire, the gun, the silencer company, but also the flashlight company, and Safeway. They had a big issue. They had a lawsuit going. Safeway's been around longer than Surefire, but Surefire sued them for issues about confusion. And this is the beaver. And they point out, here's Buc-ees. Yeah, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? So they're suing. And what are they pointing out here? Well, Buc-ees has been around for over 4 decades, and they were mainly in Texas for the longest time. In this case. And they have goods and services related to the public through its Buc-ees stores. They have continuously used the distinctive logos shown below, which are the beavers. You're like, okay. And the stores are not like other convenience stores. They are highway oases, and they are. They are. When you go into one, it is not like any other gas station or convenience store. It's actually really nice inside, very clean, very organized, and it's very, 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 very fast. Kia Pack says, can we get Puxatawny Phil to adjudicate? That would be so fucking funny. Oh. So they point out that it's become a rare brand like Apple and Costco. Yes, it's a thing. Like 2.0 and I, when we moved down to where we were, we made an agreement that we would not go to Buc-ees until we could go together. And I drove by a bunch of Buc-ees on the way down. So did she. But we waited till we both got together and we went to Buc-ees together. And we had our experience. But yes, it's national consumer calculations. It's a zeitgeist. They had and 10,000 people showed up in New Braunfels. That's a weird name. In 2012, lining up at 6 a.m. People that was one of the things going to Texas. You go to Whataburger, you go to Buc-ees. That was a thing. Now they're all over the South, so it's kind of like when you go to the South, you go to Waffle House. You can go to Buc-ees. Yes, and it was there in front of the brisket table under the beaver. They knew it was true love. Yes. Well, no, we did go. We went together. It was like a little bit of a date. We went to go explore. Yeah, and people used to say we can't go to Texas without going to Buc-ees. You know, they have like they are an iconic brand. They've been around forever. You know, the Buc-ees logo is not as renowned as Mickey Mouse, but it's pretty important. You know, and yes, they have massive fucking signs and they have massive billboards all around them when you're driving by. And one of the predominant colors is red, with employees wearing red uniforms. Interior red signage and the name Buc-ees appearing in giant red lettering. So they've done this from a single convenience store in Lake Jackson, Texas, to more than 50 stores in Ohio, Florida, Texas, Missouri, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Virginia, Arizona, and Colorado. Why is that not in alphabetical order? Like Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan. Like, do it in alphabetical order. Jesus Christ. Come on. Come on. You know, like, why? Why? They just don't do it right. They don't do it right, guys. It's annoying. So, and they say several more states, including, including Arkansas, Kansas, Arkansas and Kansas, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Louisiana, Utah, and Idaho. So, yes, and this was really cool. At the beginning of the year, 2.0 were so interested in this because we found out they were opening up in Dayton. The problem was it was like going to be a 3.5, 4-hour drive. Pito says that's the order in which they expanded. I understand that, but that's not the order they expanded because they weren't in Ohio first. But just alphabetize them. Like it's like the song. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho. Just do it in fucking order. It's not so hard. It's not hard. But yes, massive locations, extensive food offerings, and quirky brand identity around the beaver mascot. And they point out that the April 6th opening of the Huber Heights, Ohio location broke records and caused nearby hotels to sell out. Like, that is true. I know people who went down there. They did. The state song you learned had them in regions. Oh, we learned it as 50 nifty United States from 13 original colonies. And there were 50 nifty stars on the flag that billowed so beautifully in the breeze. So, living in Stoogs Walls temporarily. It's been a member for 2 months. 2 months. Says, I went to the Dayton one. I highly recommend. Are you in Ohio? I just missed you then. Anyways, thank you. The marks are inherently distinctive and serve to identify and indicate the products and services to the public. Buc-ee's marks are distinctive in the marketplace, and the consuming public in Texas and elsewhere widely recognizes and associates the marks with plaintiff. As a result, they've acquired common law rights in the marks. And with federal law, they registered the marks in the principal register of the U.S. PTO, the Patent and Trademark Office. So what do? Well, they have registered them. They have different marks that they've registered. And you can register a lot of different things, guys. And they say the registrations are valid and subsisting. And all of them, but a handful, are incontestable pursuant to the United States Code. And they say the correct copies of the registrations are attached. So what are the unlawful activities? So notice that this is where they make it seem like it's all nefarious. It's all nefarious here. I keep forgetting. Adam yelled at me. Adam Freddy yelled at me to keep the microphone right here. I got to keep it like right here. Look at my Scarlett impression. Say, on information and belief, the defendant owns and operates a retail store offering a range of convenience store items. Yeah, like a normal fucking convenience store. The owner of its trade name registration is for Beaver's Mini Mart. The beaver is a cartoon beaver logo in connection with the convenience store operations. Yes, because they're in Beaver Creek, Ohio. Like Buc-ee's, it incorporates a cartoon beaver with wide eyes and a smile. It's also red as a predominant color in exterior signage, with the anthropomorphic representation of a cartoon beaver mascot. Why couldn't they get this? Actually looks orange, and I'm pretty sure Beaver Creek High School is orange and black, if I remember properly. You Dayton people, can you tell me if that's correct? But I'm pretty sure Beaver Creek is black and orange. But that looks more orangey to me than anything. So, but yes, apparently Beaver Creek has many SARS in it. Oh no. Oh no. And then from here, the defendant's marks began after plaintiff developed rights in its Buc-ees marks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because Buc-ees has been around for 40 years. I doubt this has been around for 40 years. Somebody changed the name. Like, okay. Plaintiff has priority based on the registration and the marks. Yes. Which have been in U.S. commerce for over 4 decades. They never authorized the defendant to use or register the marks, and the defendant's user promoted them in commerce without plaintiff's authorization. And this is how this works, guys. Even though they were nobody knew about Buc-ees. That was like a niche thing if you weren't, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But now they can show up and say, "Oh, you're illegal." That's how trademark works. This is the time where trademark and intellectual property law is a big gnarled cock that you can wield. And it's rough. So what are the effects of the claims? It's likely to cause confusion among consumers. They'll think there's a connection. It's exacerbated by the collective use of the trade name beavers, predominant use of the color red, as well as the cartoon beaver logo. Well, it sounds like this is fucking your problem, Buc-ees. The unauthorized use of the mark enables the defendant to trade on the goodwill built up at great labor and expense over many years. But remember, they were here first, but it doesn't matter under trademark law. But a court should, and I think there should be a situation like this. You did this. You moved here. Could you, as a resident of Beaver Creek, write an amicus brief and tell the court you're not fucking retarded? Sure. And also, yes, are they going to sue the city of Beaver Creek soon? Are they going to sue the city of Beaver Creek? Because what are you going to do? I just don't know what's going to happen here. Are we going to go after the Beaver Creek City School District? Is that what's going to happen? Are they next? You got to take it down. You got to rename your school. You got to rename your town. Just absolutely obnoxious by Buc-ees. This is not going to help. This is not going to help things at all. Not going to help things at all. It's not. And, here's the mascot for the Beaver Creek schools. They have Bucky the Beaver. And they like the high school wrestling. Here's their oh no, the wrestling team. The wrestling team's going to have to change their logo now. This is, are they going to go to war with everybody who wears red? They're going to fight all the Bloods now. Fight all the Bloods in the folk nation. That's going to be great. It's just not going to work. Yeah, they're going to have to sell the town off. Beaver Creek has mentioned making the location a historic landmark. That would be fucking hilarious. That would be fucking hilarious. I hope they do. That would be so good. But honestly, think about how ridiculous, the attorneys involved in this should have counseled them just to let this one go. This is how people hate your guts, and this makes you look like assholes. But they're claiming it unjustly enriches the defendant at Buc-ee's expense. They continue to be unjustly enriched by obtaining a benefit by taking undue advantage of its goodwill. They've taken advantage of the Buc-ee's marks that were developed. You showed up where they live. This is just like Red Dawn. We live here. Although they're probably Indian, so we live here, sir! So what do they want? They want federal trademark infringement, unfair competition. I don't know if I ran a Quickie Mart and you showed up, you're probably stealing money from me. Let's be real. So what do they want? They want a permanent injunction. They want to destroy all products, packaging, sightings, advertisements, internet postings and advertisements, bearing the marks. The defendant be ordered to file this court, serve upon plaintiff a report in writing saying, "Sir, we destroyed the beaver." They want to recover all damages it has sustained. And they want the damages to be trebled, meaning triple. They want treble damages. They want attorney's fees. They want profits to be paid over. I mean, I can't believe Baker Hostetler wasn't like, you really shouldn't fucking do this. Like, that part of your job as an attorney. Ooh, 98,000 number. That's a newer attorney. Well, not anymore, but I can't believe that these two didn't sit there and say, this is a really bad idea. We shouldn't do this. People are going to fucking hate you. You're going to look like big floppy assholes. But apparently they thought this was a great idea. They thought this was a great idea to sue some random convenience store. And ultimately, yes, like, oh, we're suing for damages. Yes, sir, this is a Quickie Mart. We sell squishies. How are they killing you? How are they killing you? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I don't understand who part of your Ryan Mullally, we talked about this. Part of your job is counseling your client on the downsides of engaging in action. This is one of them. Like, everybody's going to look at you and think you're fucking evil. Yeah, this is just evil. Even if you're right, this is evil. It's Bush League, yeah. Yeah. It's just, this isn't good. This isn't good. You know, and Buc-ees is going to do it, and this is where their attorney should have been like, you guys really shouldn't do this. People are going to fucking hate us. Like, are they really hurting? Is Buc-ees really going to hurt? I mean, no. No. Fire and Ice for $5, I think an Ohio resident says, people have already raised over $30K in the GoFundMe for the store for their future legal fees. Okay, well, Baker Hostetler is a big firm. That money's going to get lit on fire right away. Although it's funny because when you look at the map of this area, Enon, Ohio is actually the home of Speedway stores. Speedway's corporate headquarters are in Enon, Ohio. So when you look at this map down here, you have Beaver Creek here, you have Hubert Heights right here, and then just up the road is Speedway. Speedway is a big chain of gas stations, and their colors are red too. I can't wait till they try to fucking fight these people. And yes, for once out of this, John Oliver, that fucking goober, the British guy who talks about in current year, he finally did something where I kind of support him. And he wants to fight Buc-ees. And I'll give him credit. This is actually like, he finally did something good. He started a thing where he's, doing Buc-ees. And it's Mr. Nutter Butter. Although, I think it's Little Debbie or Nabisco could probably sue him for the Nutter Butter thing. But anyways, they're selling all kinds of buck-off stuff. And this is just, they're actually they're taunting them and challenging to get sued. And he thinks that he's got money and HBO will defend him. It'll be funny if they don't, but yes, he's only doing this because he hates America. Yes, John Oliver is a scumbag and he should get deported. Sadly, I think he's a U.S. citizen, but yeah, Buck breaking off. Yes, for once he did something that good, but the rest of it, yeah, it's just I don't know how you do this. And as an attorney, you should counsel people on not doing this stuff. That's your job as an attorney. Say, don't do that. That's your job. Do your job. Put the lawsuits in the bag. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to cancel out all my tabs here. I got too many tabs open. Yeah, this is terrible, terrible PR. HBO isn't going to stick their necks out. Yeah. He got a citizenship years ago, just like Mehdi Hassan. Yeah, a lot of people need to lose their citizenship. Deport them all. Stacy says Speedway screwed up their point system once and people are able to buy. I heard about this. I was not able to take advantage of it, but I had a ton of Speedway points. I don't know if they're still there or not. Yeah, people could buy $200 DoorDash gift cards for $20. Those fun times. Yeah. Yeah, people were like, I heard about this, but I was not able to do that. So whatever happened to that Cuck Commander, Duck Commander suit? I think Duck Commander won. I think the Robinsons won. So now moving on, guys, this is I thought this was just kind of a meme. It's a bit of a memeing thing here. This is in a federal court ruling that is about a case that the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, is taking to trial here coming up. And this is a case where here, and it's just, you start reading this paragraph here, and it's kind of interesting. It says, to be sure, gold and silver are not as big as the deal they used to be. We are far past the time of gold rushes in California and Alaska. Fort Knox doesn't back up all our currency with gold anymore. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry to break it to you. Instead, the mighty American military and the Fed's printer keeps the dollar afloat now. Footnote 51. Even so, any boomer watching cable news knows that gold and silver are, in the words of then Vice President Biden to then President Obama, a big fucking deal. The value of the United States mineral production rose from 112 billion, yada, 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 yada. They say accordingly, there is, giving the CTFC control over this is a pretty big deal. Well, anyways, what is this idea? The American military and the Fed's printer keeps the dollar afloat now. That is true. The petrodollar is kept afloat with fucking Tomahawk cruise missiles and Delta Force and SOCOM. Well, it's very funny because you come down here to the bottom and there is a meme. And as young people say today, money printer go brr. And yes, the money printer does go brr. So I thought that was kind of funny. We're going to start seeing memes in court documents. Like, I don't know about that, but they didn't need the meme, but they could have just said money printer go brr. This has got to be a younger judge who did this. So I thought it was kind of funny. With that said, though, Joe Schmo for 50 subs. Let's fucking go tonight, chat. Big fucking support. Big support. Thank you guys for your support and your generosity. I greatly appreciate it. It's absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I truly do. I don't understand what I do, but you guys come back here and keep coming back. So thank you all. Just crushing these grays and driving them out. It's a green neighborhood, chat. And also, chat, did that work for you guys without stuttering? Because mine, it was like, So I don't know if that worked right or not. Yes, the membership printer goes brrr. Yes, liquidate the grays, chat. We are praying the gray away here. We are going to make America green again. Again, we're going to make America green again. Yes, at least it was a footnote. Yes. Yes, membership printer go brrr. Joe Schmos, happy birthday. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Oh. We don't understand it either. Well, that makes two of us. Trenches and Trent says gray lives matter. Nope. Gray forever. You're like segregation today, segregation tomorrow. No. Keep moving, Grace. This is a green neighborhood. Keep moving. What do I have against the C note? I have nothing against it. Oh, there we go. So that was just like a little bit of lullness, a little bit of funniness, chat. We do a little bit of memeing here. Then we move on to some real stuff, the real things now, the real. You guys want to know. Let's see here. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Okay. So if you guys remember last week, Anthony Fauci was in front of the the Senate Homeland Security Committee and Governmental Affairs Committee and pled the fifth to everything. He went to the fifth. Is your name Anthony Fauci? Fifth. What color is this pen I'm holding up? Fifth. Everything was the Fifth Amendment. Now, remember, at the time, people were really mad about this, and people were wondering why I only spent a couple minutes on it, because it's pretty straightforward. He has the right to assert the Fifth Amendment. Yes, he has been given a pardon by President Biden, but what does the pardon cover? It's not clear. A bunch of people in the White House right now in the Trump administration think that pardon was invalid. Well, if the people who are in charge of, whether or not they prosecute you, the executive branch, think your pardon might not be valid, you have a very big incentive to plead the fifth. We also see that state attorney generals are looking into what Fauci did to see if they could charge him with crimes. Fifth Amendment again. Also, you have cases like Ohio v. Reiner, where you could plead the fifth even if you are innocent, if you're worried you could be implicated or things could happen to you. So there's a lot of reasons why you could plead the fifth. And ultimately, from here, this ended up getting referred by Rand Paul, who runs the committee, and they held a vote. And we're going to talk about this here in a second, but here we go.
Seeing no other motions, the question is on reporting of an original resolution.
Oh, come on. Damn it. There we go. Let's try this.
Seeing no other motions, the question is on reporting of an original resolution regarding.
Oh, come on. Damn it. All right. Anyways, they're going to hold Fauci in contempt. As this goes, there are. Yeah, I guess we'll switch to YouTube then for this. This is just. So. We will, they had a whole House committee hearing for 45 minutes to hold him in contempt. And ultimately, this was
Senator Ernst.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
They went through the whole thing, and they went through and they held their votes. And honestly, guys, it wasn't anything to worry about because yeah, they're going to hold him in contempt. But here's the thing. It's a vote out of committee. So it went 7-8. 8-7 because the Republicans control the Senate. There's still things that have to happen. It's got to go in front of Congress. It's got to go in front of the Senate. And he's got to get 60 votes to get it referred to the DOJ. That's not going to happen. So why are we doing this? This is nothing. This is bluster. This is no different than Trey Gowdy shitting on people. Guys, it's bread and circus. You're being, buffalo jump. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind here. And ultimately, if you want to see these guys call the roll on who voted for what, great. But it's just theater. This isn't going to do anything. Nothing's going to happen. And remember, Eric Holder got held in contempt and referred to the DOJ, the Obama DOJ. And what did they do? Nothing. But what did the Trump DOJ do? Nothing. The Biden DOJ did nothing. So, Pepsi Man says, didn't Steve Bannon go to jail for all this shit? Yeah. Yep. Yup. Isn't that funny how that goes? Isn't that funny how that goes? Yeah, because we don't fight hard enough. We don't do it the right way. So anyway.
Roll.
Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Langford.
Aye.
Senator Scott.
Yes.
Senator Hawley.
Aye.
So I mean, it's great. It's great. Like, yay, they went through.
Senator Moreno.
On behalf of the millions of people harmed by
So it's not good. It's not nothing impressive here. Shout out to Bernie Moreno. Shout out to Rep in Ohio,
Anthony Fauci, resoundingly yes.
which is great. Also, Rick Scott. He's a fucking faggot, but representing Florida. So yeah, I don't give a fuck about this. I want to preach too. I want deportations too. Send them all. TPS, get rid of it. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, I want him gone. Deport. ESPN deportes. Deport them all. That's what I want. So, Fauci, swing away again. Well, remember, chat, there's always a day of the rope. And he's this little skinny guy, so you could probably find a lamppost that'll support him. Just saying. Yes, and a flare-up party. Yep, it is. So, just something to think about. It is something to think about. Day of the 3D printed thing. Well, that too. And yes, that is also I kind of forgot that this lady here is my other senator, Moody.
Senator Ernst. Senator Moody.
Yeah. Like both Florida senators are on the committee, which is kind of based. So, yes, big or small, deport them all. Yes. Look at those Paul White Man Angela would slip out of her seat. Jesus. You guys are assholes. Oh, I didn't see what that was. That's why I answered it there. But yeah, that's where we are, guys. Where we are. Nothing's gonna happen. Sorry to tell you, but nothing's gonna happen. Nothing ever happens, chat. Nothing ever happens. At least on that. So, okay, where else are we right now? We are then moving on to the state of Washington, guys. We talked about this last week. In the state of Washington, the bar exam was a complete unmitigated disaster. The state of Washington rolled out what was called the next generation of the uniform bar exam. And because of multiple technical issues, they had to cancel it. Everybody showed up last week, Tuesday morning, and then they were told, sorry, no bar exam for you today. And we talked, and I mentioned this so you guys understand, that's a big deal. Like the amount of stress and time, effort, and money put into it. But the amount of people who had job offers writing on passing the bar, working in law firms and in governmental agencies, just in period. There are so many people that their job is conditioned on them passing the bar. And if it's not ready to go and they have to take it again another time, then that job's probably going to get offered to someone else who can work right away. Well, the Washington Supreme Court actually came up with a solution. And I like it partially, but part of this has got, there's some problems here. We're going to get through this, and some of you are going to laugh at this, and I think there might be I wonder if this technically is an equal protection issue, but we'll see. We'll get to it, though. So, August 6th, Supreme Court of the state of Washington. A statement addressing the July 2026 bar exam. So, what did they do? Well, they adopted the NCBE Next Generation Uniform Bar Exam in March of 2024 and voted to join the first wave of jurisdictions to administer it in July 2026. In doing so, we understood this new iteration provided applicants with an exam that tested skills lawyers need to represent their clients competently. In addition, we developed new pathways to licensure practice law in the state of Washington. they say, at our direction, the State Bar Association contracted to create, deliver, and analyze the exam. Members of the team and the court met with the NBC over the last 3 years to plan and develop this. And then ultimately, they've been working for over a year now with the Yakima, Washington Convention Center to plan for the technology needs. And notice all the glazing here. This is so corporate. We know firsthand the hard work and the others involved in this endeavor. They failed. They failed. What about the hard? Fuck your hard work. We went into the first administration with optimism. This reads like corporate slop right here, guys. This is corporate bullshit. As we all know, the July exam was canceled for most applicants because of technological failures, the causes of which have not yet been fully identified. The experience is devastating for many applicants who spent years preparing to become licensed in Washington. Much of the public discussion about what happened reflects partial information or in some instances is outright incorrect. It's fake news. A full investigation is needed to determine what happened and why. We understand that waiting for a full investigation is not possible before taking further action. Applicants, employers, law schools, and the broader community need resolution. So they've been meeting daily with the Bar Association and the company who runs the bar, the UBE, within the court to discuss potential resolutions. Any resolution must balance fairness to the various categories of applicants, along with the court's duty to uphold professional standards and ensure public protection of the lawyer licensing process. Several options have been presented and carefully reviewed. The state bar staff recommended a conditional admission period through January 31st, 2028, with applicants required to take and pass a bar exam or complete one of the new pathways to licensure that have been worked out in the meantime. So keep in mind, option number one, you start working as an attorney at some point, you have to go take the bar after you're already an attorney. I mean, I'm going to have to do that in February, but holy jeez. That's that one ain't good. We're not doing that one. The deans of the 3 Washington law schools, and there are only 3 in Washington state, which is surprising. I thought there were more. The deans of the 3 schools recommended we grant diploma privilege to their law school graduates. And diploma privilege, chat, is the idea that if you go to school in Washington and you graduate, you are automatically allowed within the state of Washington to practice. Robert Barnes is very fond of talking about Wisconsin having it. Wisconsin has had it for a very long time, that if you graduate law school in Wisconsin, you can start practicing in Wisconsin. They said with a suggested requirement of some additional continuing CLEs prior to taking the oath of attorney. Others have urged the court to simply require to take and pass the next test at a future date without paying additional fees. And they point out there's no perfect resolution. They point out the bar applicants are several categories of people. And we've been diligently working to address each one and balance the competing values. So, and they say, set out in the order dated August 6th, the resolution the court has voted on by a majority and adopted is as follows. This is where we get to, here's their solution, guys. Here is their solution. Oh, I read this earlier and I'm like, oof. Yes. Washington licensed attorneys, Andrea Burkhart. I believe her husband's an attorney too. And then, yes, Bill Kirk over at Washington Gun Law. Very nice guy. Yes. And so, but anyways, here we go. Chat. Here we go. Oh, you're also a Washington attorney? So that's 3. That's 4, I know. Half Samus, Andrea, her husband, and then Bill Kirk. Here we go. So here how's it works. First-time applicants, including all first applicants eligible to sit for the exam under the APRs who are unable to take the exam, shall have the option to take a UBE administered in 2026 or later, or to instead accept waiver of the bar exam requirement by court order into the Washington State Bar. So they're getting diploma privilege. The first-time applicants. Gee, I wonder what they're going to do. No. I want to take the bar. Although, to be fair, I could see in the future, we're going to get to what's happening in New Mexico next. People might put on their, business cards in the future, I passed the bar, as a way to impress, clients. They say they must make the choice to accept the option for waiver and admission by court by giving notice to the state bar no later than August 14th at noon. Those who choose to admission by exam waiver in order of the court may not sit for the September 2026 bar. However, should they wish to sit for a future exam in order to receive a portable next-gen score, they may do so later at their own expense. Now, what's this mean here? Well, and this is where you get the issue, Joe. You don't have reciprocity in other states. Other states may deny you because you never passed the bar. So if you want to receive a portable score, meaning you could take it somewhere, this allows you're going to have to pay for your own chance to do it. So if you want to go to Oregon, if you want to come to Ohio, if you want to come to New York, if you want to come to Wisconsin, you're going to have to show them stuff. It's kind of like how there are times where if you live in a state that doesn't have a concealed carry license, you have constitutional carry, but you're traveling to a state that doesn't have it and you need a carry license. Well, you still need a carry license where you live. So like in Ohio, I kept my carry license and I'm going to get one here in Florida. So that way, if I go to a state where you don't have constitutional carry, I could still carry a gun because I can't just bank on, I could just wander around in Florida without a license. So there you go. But isn't that interesting? So your first-time applicants. Okay. How does this work here, though? So they keep going. Applicants must elect what option they wish to choose, and that election will be made binding once made. If they make no election, they will not be admitted by court order, regardless of whether they registered for the bar exam by the August 14th deadline. And here's where it gets shitty, though. Those who have previously taken a bar exam in any jurisdiction prior to the 2026 exam and failed to receive a passing score are not eligible for waiver of the bar exam requirement and admission by court order. So if this is your second time through in Washington, too fucking bad. If you took the February 2026 exam, too bad. If you took the exam 3 years ago and then you took off time to go work for the Peace Corps, too bad. If you failed in another state and came to take this one, too fucking bad. I think there's some equal protection issues here. I don't know how that's fair. I mean, I get what they're saying. They're saying, well, if you failed once, you suck. But these other guys didn't get a chance to fail, so we're going to presume they're good. Yeah, I don't know about that. That is some ish. Yeah. However, they are eligible to register for the September or February bar exams without paying additional fees. Well, that part at least is legit. Like, you have to pay extra fees. The effective date of admission by order of the court for those eligible will coincide with the admission date for those taking the July and September exams, the results of which will be released simultaneously. So even if you want to be admitted, you can't get it right away. But to be fair, guys, if you took the July bar, you weren't going to find out till October anyway. It's actually a while to find out. So all the requirements for admission of law and the maintenance of a law license shall remain in effect, meaning CLEs, all that other stuff. The state bar will publish an admission list on or after October 12th that does not reflect the method of admission. So they're not going to say how it happened, and nobody will know except you. Although I could see people putting on their cards, I passed the bar. And think about it. That might get you a client. That also, like, I didn't pass the bar. Your clients might walk out the door. So, and it says those who were able to complete some people were apparently some people could complete the exam. Some people did. I didn't realize some people did. I thought everybody was fucked. You're not eligible for the waiver. The exams from this group have been submitted and the scoring process is underway. So if you got it done, it's too late. You got to let your score ride. That's gotta be nerve-wracking. You're like, wait, I could have, like, if my computer would have not worked, I could be in free and clear. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. They receive a next-gen UBE score and are also not eligible to sit for the September exam. So if you fail, you can't take the September one too and double dip. We know this group of applicants did experience some technological interruptions. Those who did not receive passing scores may sit for the February exam without an additional fee. That's actually kind of based. So that is what they're looking for here and how that's going to happen here. They say ultimately this, they're striving to balance the needs of the public and people who through no fault of their own got screwed. So that is interesting. That is an interesting thing here. Now, from there, the state of New Mexico is doing something interesting. And this is an issue that you'll hear judges and people in the legal field call access to justice and access to attorneys and legal help. So this is actually something when I was in Ohio was starting to plague Ohio. The rural counties attorneys are dying off and retiring, and there aren't people coming out to replace them. And that creates a lot of problems because there's only so many attorneys, which means attorneys get used up on cases or aren't available, and there's conflicts and things, and then people have to pay more to get it. It does become an issue. But anyways, New Mexico's got a very big problem, and they are dealing with a rural lawyer shortage. And 4 counties in New Mexico don't have any attorneys. And you might say, well, that's not a big deal. How many counties are there in New Mexico? Well, they're not that many because it's a western state, and western states don't have a ton of counties, but they have 33. And, it's the state of New Mexico. Like 4 counties don't have attorneys, period, which could be a problem. So what is the state of New Mexico? Why are they doing this? Well, there's problems here. New Mexico has just one law school, the University of New Mexico, and it has about 100 graduates a class. Well, New Mexico is predominantly rural and has very high poverty rates. It has a lot of Native Americans on it. And they point out that, some counties only have one attorney per 1,000 people. 85% of the lawyers who are licensed to practice in New Mexico and live in the state, because they're going to be people on the borders. But if you live in the state and you're licensed in the state, you live in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, or Las Cruces. And that makes sense. You live in the big towns. That's where the action is, right? Like, if you think about it, if you want to know the truth about it, you're going to be where the action is. And that makes sense because where are the attorneys going to work? In Albuquerque, the big place. In Santa Fe, the state capital, you're going to have 1 million attorneys. And then down here in Las Cruces, those are the biggest places. So what happens from here? Well, they're trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we balance this? So what do they want to do? Well, they want to do something like apprenticeship. And this is where people were freaking out that New Mexico was just allowing anybody to do it. No. After finishing law school, a graduate could begin supervised practice at an established law firm and receive full licensure after completing a certain number of training hours and submitting their work to bar examiners. So it kind of goes back to the traditional idea of reading law, but also having law school attached to it. This is actually how in Britain and in the Commonwealth, I think even up in Canada, Runkle could probably tell me if this is correct or not, attorneys, you go to law school, and your law school is actually like an undergrad program. And then you go work at a firm, and you're kind of like interning and apprenticing from there. And that's a thing that can exist. And yeah, you can't go out and practice on your own, but you work with an attorney and they supervise you. And then, yeah, they're hoping they could get more attorneys involved and more people to do it. And that's just because it's a big problem here. Just do what the Fed doctors in remote Alaska, problem solved. Yeah, I mean, like, there's options for that too. But it is something they're going to try to do here. And they put out an order and they want to allow this to happen. They want to allow this to happen and give people a chance to do it. So they are approving these skill-based pathways. And they are going to let people try it and they'll see what happens. Now, Uncle Gary says, trust me, there's no point in... you must be a lawyer, Uncle Gary, it sounds like. Says there's no point in being a lawyer here unless you're playing ball with the Democrats or related to someone with power, you'll get snuffed out. Understandable. That's probably true. But they're trying to figure out ways to increase, access to justice. So that's a thing. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Like, I don't doubt it. New Mexico's a Democrat hellhole now. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's a lot of rural America. Heck, even in Florida, like, it's Southern politics down here. It's going to be a little tough for me. But I'll make it work. We'll figure it out, chat. We'll figure it out together. Mega Johnny says, so Saul Goodman didn't have to go to the Soma School of Law. No. But it is interesting how this works and what they're doing with it. I interpreted what Sean's saying as black people need lawyers. No, rural and in poverty-stricken places like Ohio. Black people don't live in rural Ohio. Who do you think lives in rural Ohio? White people. So, no, it's not exactly that. Not exactly that at all. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, guys, we are almost done. We have real quick. We have a Sarah Boone letter. And it's been a little while since we haven't heard from our girl, Sarah Boone, America's sweetheart. Sarah Boone, the Samsonite slaughterer, the Travelite terror. Yes, that's right. The suitcase murder lady, Sarah Boone, locking her boyfriend up in a suitcase and throwing him down the stairs. And from here, we're going to talk about it because Sarah Boone is now in the appeal phase. And it just shows you how crazy she is and how ridiculous she is. So she wrote a letter to the Court of Appeals. And, this just shows you how disingenuous she is and how she's not reading things correctly. So she wrote to the 6th District Circuit Court, the Court of Appeals here in Florida. And she is, saying, in my good faith efforts to abide in accordance with the order given by the district court to not contact the courts directly. Yes, Sarah sent a lot of fucking letters and they told her previously, fucking stop. And advised me to use my court-appointed attorney. In my own advocacy, I must ignore these instructions as I do not know where else I am to turn in this matter. In closing this letter, I have included a copy of the first written communication I received from my court-appointed attorney, where he clearly states he has had no intention of simply even reading the state's answer to my brief, much less respond to in my rightful opportunities to do so. Now, that's a pretty serious allegation. That's a very serious allegation. His executive decision to relinquish his legal responsibilities limits my rights to move forward properly in my defense. Above all, Mr. Maldonado's defeating decision was made well before the state's answer was ever written. This is deeply concerning, as a reply brief can only be meaningfully evaluated after proper review of the state's arguments, yet my counsel predetermined no response would be filed regardless of what the response would be. His unconcerned approach heavily impedes the prejudice in my appeal by restricting any new arguments, proving factual inaccuracies, legal misstatements, and my rights altogether. It is my understanding there are significant issues that needed to be raised and properly argued in my case. It's your understanding. Oh, what's Sarah's understanding, everybody? We better fix this. That need to be argued in my case in which Mr. Maldonado prematurely surrendering his duties as my counsel. This approach also raises legitimate questions as to the level of professional diligence, effort, and careful consideration devoted to the successful preparation of my initial brief as a whole. If counsel had already decided before seeing the opposing party's position that no additional advocacy was necessary. I have done everything I know how and have to the resources to consistently attempt to work with, rely on, or be included in my appellate attorney as the court would expect. Okay, this is just free tip. You're not helping when you're doing all that. We don't need your research, don't need your help. Just saying. Due to Mr. Maldonado making clear his position and the written refusal to act on any further on my behalf has forced me in my responsibility, right, and party, also in the justice system being the appellant, to make the court aware of my critical situation. In all respect due, I ask for understanding in my direct contact and graciously seek guidance from the 6th District Court of Appeals. In this matter, sincerely, Boone. Again, Boone. Yes, chat, she is still Sarah Booning. So what does he have here? The copies were mailed to. She does all of this. So here we go. We are going to hear the Maldonado Law Firm. Very nice letterhead. Attorneys and counselors of law. What do they cover? Immigration and naturalization, civil litigation, real estate, appellate law, and lemon law. That's right, Chad. If you want to make lemonade and you need lemons, you got to go find these guys. Best lemon lawyers around. If you need grapefruit law, you got to go somewhere else. Okay, so what is this? Well, this is the letter from the attorney. It says, Mrs. Boone. Although she's Miss Boone now, so she, she's on her own. I received your letter dated May 13th. And what date was this from? May 21st. Wherein you state that you did not receive a copy of the brief I filed on your behalf. I'm not sure why you didn't receive it, as I definitely mailed it to you. So I'm enclosing another copy herein in the hopes you actually received this one. I have that happen all the time. You send something to a guy and they're in prison. I didn't get it. Who knows why? You just send it again. It happens routinely. They say, with respect to the phone call, and as I made you aware during our last call, so it appears she's having multiple calls with him. I ordinarily do not call inmate appeal clients on court-appointed cases, as I prefer written communications. Even if they're retained, written communications are always easier. It's a record. We know what was said. There is, documentation for it. I simply don't have the time or resources on this case to schedule yet another call to discuss the brief. Now, there's also an issue of you don't generally get compensated for those as court-appointed counsel. But a letter is just a stamp in the mail. It's not a big deal. And he says, I'm not going to discuss the brief again as it is self-explanatory, and I made the best arguments I could on this case in light of all the circumstances. As far as what to expect next on the appeal, the state will have an opportunity to file an answer brief, and the matter will then go before the appellate court for review based on the brief submitted. I will not be filing any reply brief and also will not be scheduling any oral argument, as I do not believe it is necessary in this matter. And oral arguments are generally not granted on these matters anyway from the appellate courts. Now, that might be an issue here that they don't grant them, but other places you can ask for them and you get them. But remember, we talked about this before. Oral arguments don't generally change anything. Even at the Supreme Court, oral arguments don't change anything. Your briefs, your writings are what carry the day. So with respect for your wish for me to keep Nicole Ray Fieberger informed as to what transpires, enclosed herein is an attorney-client privilege waiver for your completion. Please review the waiver, sign it, and mail it back to me at your earliest convenience. Once I receive it, I'll be happy to provide her with the brief as well and I can correspond to keep her apprised of any case updates. And that helps too because he can talk to her at any time. She can call on a cell phone. Boom, 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 done. Sincerely, David Maldonado, JD, attorney and counselor at law. And then once a member of the United States Supreme Court, remember, chat, all that means is you paid some money to get it. And then, yes, that is it. But what is the thing here about? I am not going to file a reply brief. Generally, you don't. And also asking for like all of that, that's what he said he hasn't going to read it. This is Sarah just being ridiculous. So there you go. I mean, this is Sarah just spurging out, and it's like, no, it's whatever your attorney's going to do. So, historically, White says he is so fucking boring. Well, you know, is he going to scream at her and call her like a dozy bint or something? Like, what's he going to say? Like, shut up, bitch? He can't do that. He can't do that. He has to respect her. Katie says, you can help her now, Sean. No, I can't. And no, I do not want to. I do not want that for my life. Pepsi Man says, if only I was licensed in Florida, I could have represented Sarah. No. No. Bob Two says, in Australia, you need to complete an article as a clerkship. This was a traditional apprenticeship. Oh, thank you. Thank you there. Yes, Seamus. Yes, she has the understanding of a tadpole. Yes. Yes, she has the understanding of a brick in this. Coffee Cat for $5 says, I just saw Spider-Man. I wish I stayed home and watched Sean. Well, I'm glad I beat Spider-Man. Although, to be fair, you can't beat Spider-Man 1 and 2. Like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. Those are the best. Those are the best. You could fix her, Sean. Yes. Edward Scott says she did forgive you. Yes, she forgave all of us on the internet. But she can't fit me in a suitcase. I know. She can't kill me. I have to pay her back for all the content she gave me. That's funny. That's funny. Yes. For the Sarah Gold, chat. She's like a broken Japanese vase. Oh my God. No. It's like a broken vase. I'm all good. I'm good, man. I'm good. So anyways, that is Sarah's struggle. That is her story right now. So good luck, Sarah. We're all rooting for you. Actually, you could beat Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He's dying in Doomsday. Oh. I'm going to go set up a visit just to go in front of her and go, huh, you do exist. Be like, huh, you really are retarded. Ransom Majere is saying, how did they, Ricelin Majere, if I said that wrong, I apologize. How did the attorney get the letter if she sent it to the federal court? Because they forwarded it, they would have, well, the court, she says to the court put this online because it's a filing technically. And they would have sent this on to the attorney. But also, if you check up here, it says she mailed a copy to her attorney as well. But she, like, the court will, when this stuff happens, they always send you copies so you know. But anyways, yeah, and this is Sarah Boone, the Orange County Clerk of Court. So this is, she sent it out. So yeah, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Now moving on to another Florida murder. This one's kind of weird. This one's a little weird. A dad got indicted for murdering his baby because he hit it with a leaf blower. And not like he took the leaf blower and took it and went like with it. He turned the leaf blower on and was like into the baby's face. And they're charging him for that, for murder. And you're like, what? That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. This is going to be an interesting one to cover going forward. So what is ultimately it's about? Well, in Miami, it's 84. Ooh. Anyways, this guy admitted to using a leaf blower, and as if its son has been indicted on a murder charge. He was initially charged with June with child abuse, and his 6-month-old son kid died in 2024 after it was determined it was shaken baby syndrome. And he got charged with child abuse after they saw videos of him using a leaf blower on as if its face before the death. Yeah, I don't know. Something doesn't make sense here. I don't see, I could see that causing damage, but how does that count as shaken baby syndrome? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But we do have some of the court documents for this guy. So this is so initially he got charged with child abuse with great bodily harm. And what happened? So this whole story just seems weird. This whole story seems like it's missing a lot of meth. Bob is correct, though. You have to test the leaf blower's power somehow. You're in Florida. You don't have that many leaves fall to the ground. It's always nice out. It's not like you had a big pile of leaves to blow. So wasn't the shaken baby syndrome debunked? Well, we're going to get to all this here, okay? So here we go. So here's how this works. So this is in Marion County, Florida, which is where Ocala is, which is where we got help, where that guy pointed guns at me in 2.0. So in August of 2024, they got a 911 call that a baby was unresponsive. A 6-month-old baby was unresponsive. Okay. So yeah, that happens. An unresponsive baby. The paramedics responded, and they found the baby, and, believe it or not, the baby didn't make it. You're like, wow. But the victim was a baby. The victim was transported to Orlando, and due to the nature of the injuries, they responded to investigate. In August of 2024, the victim was removed from life support and passed away shortly after. Yeah, and that's sad. Baby died. The victim's death is currently an active homicide investigation. And it says, during the investigation, I learned the victim resided at the incident location with his mother, Stephanie Johnson, his sister, his juvenile brother, James Westervelt, and then father, James Westervelt III. Yeah, I learned that the victim's maternal grandmother lived in a camper situated in the backyard of the residence with her boyfriend, Carl. This is really some Florida. We already got a Florida story going. In August of 2024, they responded to the location because there was an altercation between Stephanie Johnson and Carl. While speaking with Carl, he told the police of a video that the grandma had received from the mom in the past via Facebook Messenger. In that message, the mom told grandma to look at what she had found on the defendant's phone, and she couldn't believe what she was seeing. It depicted the baby on a bed with the nozzle of a leaf blower directed at its face. The leaf blower was projecting air, and it appeared the victim was struggling to breathe. Yes, multi-generational, success here. They reviewed the video, obtained a copy, and submitted it into evidence. Carl confronted the defendant about the incident. He would only ever tell him that he did not do it. So in an interview between the police and mom, she described a troubling video she'd found. Sometime prior to the baby being hospitalized, she had been going through his phone, and she located a video where the baby was laying down with the leaf blower on, and she estimated the baby had been between 2 weeks to 2 months old in the video. After discovering the video, she recalled getting the leaf blower to force air onto the defendant's face while he was sleeping to wake him up. She yelled at the defendant about the video she discovered. The defendant told her he thought the actions were funny and he was not trying to harm the baby. Well, interesting. Mom ultimately destroyed defendant's phone. But had sent the video clip to herself and her mom, the grandma, prior to destroying the phone. I reviewed the video. It's only 10 seconds long. The baby's laying on his back, propped up on a big pillow. There's a yellow throw blanket in the back to show where it is. When the video begins, the leaf blower is already running. It's pointed directly at the baby's face. It's positioned to record the act. The force from the air is forcing the skin around the baby's nose and mouth backwards. The force is so great it caused the baby to slide down the pillow as his hands flail. It's clear the baby is experiencing difficulty in breathing, if he even had the ability at all to breathe. Even as he slides down the pillow without the ability to breathe, the nozzle follows his face. When the video ends, the leaf blower is still going, aimed at the baby's face. Based on the fact the video was already active, it can be inferred the event was likely to have lasted longer than 10 seconds. You guys are fatigued. Well, these are white people. So it's a white guy. So it's white fatigue now. In April, they met with the mom in 2026. They met with the mom for an interview. During the interview, they showed mom a still photograph from the event. She told me she recognized the comforter in green sheets. She recognized the yellow throw blanket. She recognized the green throw blanket as her daughter's blanket. And she recognized the pillow as the baby's colored boppy pillow. I don't know what a boppy pillow is. And she stated the items would not have left the residence. And based on that, he could conclude this all occurred in their trailer in the county. Everyone who lives in Florida is an N. I don't know about that, sir. I don't know about that. Stephanie confirmed her previous statement and stating she had been going through the cell phone when she discovered the video. Prior to destroying the phone, she sent it out. She cannot provide the exact date when it occurred. However, the victim was born on a certain date and was hospitalized prior to his death. It occurred between those dates. So ultimately what happened? So the defendant committed an act that could be expected to result in serious physical or mental injury to a child by blowing a leaf blower into their face. Even as the victim struggled, the defendant kept it at his face. The video was found, and ultimately, based on the belief, I find there's probable cause to believe the defendant committed the offense of child abuse without causing great bodily harm. So I don't know how the issue is. Ultimately, they think there's some shaken baby issues too on top of this, which, yeah, interesting, huh? Interesting. I wonder if they're going to rope this all into that. But yes, using the leaf blower to kill a baby. And you wouldn't think it is. I mean, like, you just wouldn't think about it if it's, air in the face, although maybe the pressure got in and scrambled his eggs or something. Who knows? The boppy pillows are the C-shaped pillows. Oh, okay. Especially me. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's what I want. God, I'm looking tan. I look tan, chat. I look tan. I'm going to be Sean Martinez before I know it. The child abuse by the leaf blower, but I think sounds like there might have been just abuse. I'm not white. I'm Italian. I'm more white than Phil. I'm not a Polak. I wouldn't have thought about doing it either, but I can see my dad have done something like that. It would have been probably hilarious. So, but we'll see. But no, he's been charged with first-degree murder. So it sounds like this is more than one thing. It sounds like there were issues about him having, when they interviewed him, he gave conflicting reports on his stories didn't match up. There's a bunch here going on with this. I can't wait to see how this case unfolds, but it'll be great. It will be great. You look downright Mexican. Thank you. So, oh, when I first read about the story, I thought the father blew the baby down a hill or something. Yeah. Or the baby flew across the room. I mean, I got one of those Ego, leaf blowers and they are fucking high powered. So, Hunch, the dirty Rupert, it's good to see you, man. Yes, that 10% recessive gene of all Southern Italians is starting to show. I don't know what you mean, sir. What do you mean by that? Huh? Let me ask you a question. What do you mean by that? And then Hunch, the dirty Rupert, for $5. Mystery doing the NFA case. Should I wait and see for the next week with ordering a saw tissue or just send it out now? I mean, I'm more about what's this going to turn into? But you can buy a can. I mean, you may just have to register it later and file a form 4 for it. But if you're in the GOA, I mean, you can go ahead and do it, but this is far from established law. So, I mean, I would just do it the normal way. Just fill out a Form 4, get a fucking stamp, and move on with your life. So, ooh, this is a nice. I hadn't seen this before, but yeah, the stealth additive works. Is this ooh, I can't show it, chat, but it is a K size suppressor. Is it an Inconel? Yeah. Lightweight construction, titanium, no mount, the Inconel version plan for Q1 2026. 16, 18 ounces. Rated for all 6mm projectiles and below. Woo. Wow. What type of baffles are they? Like K baffles or what are they? Interesting. Interesting. But just more importantly, you can buy whatever you want. It's just, there's so much that has not been resolved here. So, yeah, nice. So, yeah, buy it. This is far from established yet. It's far from being set. All right, guys, that is it. We are all done for now. And we are going to head back over. We're not doing locals tonight. We are going over to finish up the Lindsay Clancy trial. And even if you are in the gun owners of America, you got to be careful. About this, because remember, like I said, there's so many issues. Nationwide injunctions are a big deal. These nationwide class actions are a problem. Supreme Court doesn't like all this. If you're not in the GOA, you definitely shouldn't do any of that. You shouldn't do any of that, period. If you join I'm going to join the gun owner. I was in the Gun Owners of America for a while, let that lapse because I kept my membership in the Second Amendment Foundation, but I'm going to rejoin GOA. But just be prepared. Know the legal areas that you're in and how this is not clear yet, what's going to happen. And if this just stops at the district court level, come 2028, things could change drastically. So, put the wheelchair lady back on, we will. Hunt says it's their own design, forward flow pushing of gas. Nice. Yeah, that's a cool thing with 3D printing. You can have some crazy suppressor geometries now that do all kinds of cool shit. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do, I've seen a couple of these 22 cans, print one of those out. I know you generally aren't supposed to use PLA for these, but that's what my, Anycubic only prints is PLA. I don't have the higher speed stuff. I'm going to try, I think it'll run those things, but right now it's only got PLA, so it's probably going to explode when I shoot it. User 404 says, a cripple myself, the stump and Hot Wheels are definitely wood. Well, she doesn't have a stump. She's still got her legs. I don't think they cut them off. But yeah, you can hold on, chat. I gotta make this here. There we go. What time is it right now? 12:03. We'll start this at 12:15. Here, sorry guys. But no, guys, if you have not watched this yet, this trial is a disaster. I don't understand what the prosecution's doing. Maybe they'll figure it out at some point. Where's safety glasses? Yes. The doctor with one arm. Which doctor only had one arm? I didn't notice. Terabus says PLA works fine for 22 based. There was a chick that was missing her arm. Well, how does she do how'd she do CPR one-handed? I don't know how that works. Chat. How'd that make sense? That don't make no sense. How prejudicial is it to let her sit in her wheelchair? Well, she's going to have to sit in something, and picking her up and moving her around, it doesn't do that. You can't do it that way. Also, some people are saying Chud the Builder got free. I saw that at the beginning of the stream. I didn't have a chance to check that out. So that'll be interesting if he did bail out. Good for him. Good for him. All right, guys. So we are all set. Thank you guys all for being here. Oh, is it ER Deck who's a bitch? How does, I asked you, how does she do suturing? Well, you could do it all one-handed. You're just going to be like Probably use their teeth to hold the sutures. Like, ew. Okay, yeah, she said it wasn't her job. Well, a lot of things aren't her job. All right, chat. With that said, I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to do some more Lindsay Clancy. Over the weekend, we are going to get ready for the Dwayne Keefe D. Davis trial. He's the guy who claims he was involved in Tupac Shakur's murder back in 1996. He claims he was in a car with dudes, handed them the guns, told them to put in that work. And he's standing trial now for murder, being in the murder, basically conspiring to murder Tupac. That starts on Monday. It sounds like jury selection is going to start, so we're not going to cover that right away. Courtney Clenny's plea hearing is Monday. We might cover that live because we won't be able to do this and Clancy. But once Keefe D's trial starts, we're going to jump into that, and we'll come back to Lindsay Clancy, guys. So the sutures just derma bonded. Yep. The Chud news may have been fake. Well, that's not good. So with that said, chat, I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, remember, guys, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Good night, chat. And we got done in 2 hours and 36 minutes. I am happy with that. We did a great job tonight, guys. We did it all. So see you guys later. And, just so we're clear.
Members of the public, I do apologize for the language that was just used. The statements that he's made, good or bad, do not necessarily reflect the views of anybody around this horseshoe, any staff, or the city. We appreciate your patience. This is a regular occurrence, and we do apologize.
So good night, chat. Take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?